Let's take a moment to arrive here together. If you can find a comfortable position, let your body sink into the surface beneath you. Notice the tension you might be holding in your shoulders, in your hands, in the space between your eyebrows. You don't have to force it to leave. Just notice that it is there. Notice that you are holding yourself up even when you are sitting down. Maybe that is a familiar feeling for you. The feeling that if you stop holding yourself up, if you stop staying tight and alert, everything might fall apart. We are going to explore that feeling tonight. We're going to talk about love, but not the kind of love that is light and easy and free. We're going to talk about the kind of love that feels like work. The kind of love that feels like a constant, low-grade anxiety humming in the background of your life. The kind of love that asks you to be better, to be quieter, to be smarter, to be more, just to stay safe. Let's begin with a feeling I think you know very well. It is the feeling of waiting. Maybe you are staring at your phone. You sent a message an hour ago. It was a vulnerable message, or maybe just a normal one, and there is no reply. For some people, this means nothing. They put the phone down and go make coffee. But for you, the silence is not empty. The silence is heavy. The silence starts to tell you a story, and the story is always the same. I did something wrong. I was too much. They're realizing they don't want me. I need to fix this. And so, the bargaining begins in your mind. If I just send a funny follow-up, maybe that will lighten the mood. If I plan a perfect date, maybe they will remember why they like me. If I become easier, softer, more accommodating, they will stay. There's a terrifying equation that lives deep inside your chest. It says, if I stop trying, they will leave. It says, my value is tied to my effort. It says, I am only as lovable as I am useful or pleasant or impressive. And underneath all that panic, there's a question you are too afraid to ask out loud. What if I just stopped? What if I just sat here and didn't fix anything and didn't entertain anyone and didn't solve any problems? Would anyone still be here, or would I simply disappear? This fear is not something you invented. It is not because you are crazy or clingy or needy. It is a ghost from a very long time ago. It is the echo of a lesson you learned before you had the words to understand it. The lesson was this: love is not something you are given. Love is something you earn. Let's look at your life as an adult right now. If we were to watch a movie of your relationships, your romantic partners, your closest friendships, even your relationship with your boss, we would see a pattern. You are the one who rows the boat. You are the one monitoring the emotional temperature of connection. You are the manager of the bond. You notice when the energy shifts. You notice when the tone changes. And when it does, you go to work. You become the therapist. You become the comedian. You become the caretaker. You shape-shift into whatever shape is required to fill the gap between you and them. You have become an expert at reading people. You know exactly what they need before they even ask. And you give it to them. You give and you give and you give. And often you attract people who are very good at taking. People who seem mysterious or slightly distant or complicated. People who make you feel like you have to chase them just a little bit. And when you finally catch them, when you finally get that moment of connection, that praise, that affection, it feels incredible. It feels like a drug. It feels like a victory. I did it. I was good enough to make them love me. But the high doesn't last, because the next day, the doubt creeps back in. Can I do it again today? Do I have enough energy to keep this up? And so, your relationships feel like a second job. You are always auditioning for the role of partner or friend. Even years into the relationship, you never truly exhale. You never truly rest your head on the pillow and think, I can be messy and tired and boring today, and I will be loved just as much. No, boring feels dangerous. Messy feels fatal. Where did this come from? Where did you learn that love was a transaction? Where did you learn that your natural state, your resting state, was not enough? Let's drift back. Let's leave the apartment you live in now. Leave the job. Leave the relationships. Let's go back to the house you grew up in. We are not looking for villains. We are not looking for monsters who locked you in a closet. In fact, on the surface, your childhood might have looked very good. Maybe you were praised often. Maybe you were the good kid, the one who got good grades. the one who was polite to the neighbors, the one who didn't throw tantrums in the grocery store. Your parents might have been very proud of you. Look at her, they would say. She's so mature for her age. Look at him. He's so self-sufficient. We never have to worry about him. But let's look closer at those moments. When did the love appear? Did it appear when you were just sitting there, staring at the dust motes in the sun, doing nothing? Did it appear when you were grumpy or selfish or irrational? Did it appear when you failed? Or did the love appear like a spotlight, only when you stepped onto the stage? Did the warmth flood the room only when you brought home the report card? Did the smiles appear only when you cleaned your room without being asked? Did the connection happen only when you were taking care of your parents' emotions, listening to their problems, being their little helper? For many of us, the message was subtle but absolute. I love you when you are good. I love you when you are impressive. I love you when you are easy. But when you are difficult, when you are messy, silence, withdrawal, the turn back, the disappointed sigh, the closed door. For a child, this is catastrophic. A child does not have a capacity to say, "Oh, my parents are projecting their own need for perfection onto me." No, a child looks at the world through a very simple lens. If I am loved, I am safe. If I am not loved, I am in danger. And so, the child becomes scientist. They start running experiments. If I cry, mom leaves the room. Okay, note to self. Crying equals abandonment. If I win the trophy, dad looks me in the eye and smiles. Okay, note to self. Achievement equals connection. If I stay quiet and don't ask for anything, they don't fight. Okay, note to self. Having needs causes destruction. You didn't do this on purpose. You did this to survive. You started to sculpt yourself. You took a chisel to your own soul, and you started hacking away the parts that didn't get applause. You hacked away your anger. You hacked away your laziness. You hacked away your weirdness. You hacked away your needs. And you polished what was left. You became the version of yourself that fit perfectly into the shape of your parents' expectations. And it worked. It kept you safe. It got you the praise. It kept the peace. But the cost was devastating. The cost was a belief that lives in your bones to this day. Love is not something I am. Love is something I do. If I stop doing, I stop being loved. Think about the heaviness of that. Think about the sheer exhaustion of living your entire life as a performance. This is why you are so tired. You are tired because you've been standing on your tiptoes for 20, 30, 40 years, trying to reach the bar where the love is kept. And this changes how you love as an adult. It creates a tragic paradox. When you meet someone who is actually consistent, someone who is kind, someone who is available, someone who replies to your texts simply because they like you, someone who doesn't require you to perform, what happens? Be honest. You often feel bored, or you feel suspicious. Where's the catch? You think. Why do they like me? I haven't done anything yet. There must be something wrong with them if they want me this easily. Calm feels unsafe to you. Peace feels like a trap, because in your childhood, peace was just a waiting period before the next performance. So you reject the safe love. You say, there's no spark. And you run back to the people who make you work for it. You run back to the people who are inconsistent, because that anxiety, that stomach drop feeling, that obsession, that feels like home to you. You mistake anxiety for chemistry. You mistake the adrenaline of earning it for the passion of love. You are reenacting the scene of your childhood, hoping that this time, if you just work hard enough, you'll finally secure the love permanently. If I can just make this emotionally unavailable man open up, then I will be worthy. If I can just make this critical woman happy, then I will be enough. But it is a trap, because you're trying to buy bread from a hardware store. You are trying to earn something that cannot be earned. I want you to feel the weight of this for a moment. I want you to feel the sadness of that little child who is still inside you, the child who is holding up their drawing, waiting for someone to look, the child who is getting straight A's, hoping it will make the house feel warmer, the child who is being the counselor to their parents, hoping that if they fix the parent can finally take care of them. That child is tired. That child is so incredibly tired of working. And that child is terrified that if they put the work down, they will be invisible. Let's go to that place. Let's go to the bottom of the well. Maybe you are there right now in your life. Maybe you are feeling the burnout of being the good one. Maybe you are looking at your relationships and realizing that you are doing all the heavy lifting. Maybe you are realizing that you don't even know who you are when you aren't trying to please someone. It is a scary place to be. It feels like a void. If I am not the giver, who am I? If I am not the fixer, do I exist? If I am not the successful one, do I matter? I want to tell you something that might be hard to believe right now, but I want you to try to let it in. The love you have been working for your whole life, the love you have been trying to earn, it was never about your performance. The fact that it was conditional was not your fault. It was not because you weren't good enough. It was because the people who were supposed to love you were limited. They were loving you with a broken instrument. They were loving you through the filter of their own trauma, their own needs, their own fears. They taught you that love is a wage, but they were wrong. Love is not a wage. Love is not a reward for good behavior. Love is not a prize for being low maintenance. Love is gravity. It is just there. It holds you to the earth, whether you are standing up straight or lying face down in the mud. It holds you whether you are running a marathon or sleeping for 12 hours. It does not ask you to qualify for it. Now, I want to try something with you. A small visualization. I want you to imagine that child again. The one inside you. Imagine they are standing on a stage. There's a spotlight on them. They are wearing a costume, maybe a little suit or a dance recital dress, or just their best clothes. They are performing. Maybe they are dancing or reciting a poem or holding up a trophy. They are smiling so hard their face hurts. They are looking out into the dark auditorium, desperate for the applause, desperate for the validation. Am I doing it right? Do you love me now? Now I want you, the adult you, to walk onto that stage. Walk right into the spotlight. The music stops. The audience disappears. It is just you and the child. I want you to kneel down in front of them. I want you to gently take the trophy out of their hands. Or take the costume off. Wipe the forced smile off their face with your thumb. Look them in the eye and say this to them. You can stop now. You don't have to dance anymore. You don't have to be smart anymore. You don't have to be good anymore. I love you when you're doing absolutely nothing. I love you when you are messy. I love you when you fail. I love you just because you exist. See the child's shoulders drop. See the confusion on their face at first. But if I don't perform, won't you leave? And you say, no, I am not going anywhere. I am staying right here. We can just sit on the floor. We don't have to do anything. Imagine holding that child. Imagine the feeling of being held without having to pay for it. This is the beginning of rewiring your brain. This is the beginning of teaching yourself a new language of love. It will feel strange at first. When you start to practice this in your adult life, it will feel terrifying. When you stop over-explaining yourself. When you take a few hours to reply to a text because you are busy resting. When you say no to a request you don't want to do, your heart will race. You will feel that old panic. They're going to leave. I am ruining it. But I want you to stay with it. Stay in the discomfort, because the people who leave when you stop performing, they are the ones who are only in love with the performance. Let them go. You are making space for the people who want to know the person behind the mask. You are making space for the people who will look at your messy, tired, imperfect self and say, oh, there you are. I've been waiting for you. I love you, not for what you do, but for who you are. It is a brave thing to stop earning love. It is a brave thing to believe that you are enough, just as you are. But you are. You always were. The gold stars were meaningless. The trophies were dust. The only thing that mattered was the little beating heart underneath it all. And that heart is still there. It is still beating. And it deserves to be loved without condition. Take a deep breath. Let the air fill your lungs. Not because you earned it, but because you are alive. Let your body be heavy. You don't have to hold it up. The chair will hold you. The earth will hold you. You are safe here. You don't have to do anything right now. You don't have to be interesting. You don't have to be productive. You are loved right now, in this breath, simply because you are, As we close this chapter, I want you to be gentle with yourself over the next few days. Notice when you start to dance for someone. Notice when you start to polish yourself. And gently, kindly, remind yourself, I don't have to do that anymore. I am allowed to just be. In our next story, we're going to go deeper into this feeling of safety. We're going to talk about why calm relationships often feel boring or terrifying to us. We are going to talk about the difference between anxiety and love, and how to retrain your nervous system to accept a love that doesn't hurt. But for tonight, your only job is to rest, to drop the weight you've been carrying, to let the performance end. The curtains are closed, the lights are off, and you are still here, whole, worthy, and enough.